Hi everyone, today I'd like to share with you this kind of setup to do portable gaming while waiting for the Steam Deck in case you're in a long waiting list right now. This is using typical smartphone that you may have at home together with a DualShock controller and a kind of attachments that you can buy online for fairly cheap, I think less than probably $10. To basically hold your phone and the controller together. You can actually pair them using a cable or Bluetooth. Both works. In my case, I use a cable for doing it in the best conditions with lower latency. And as you can see, it works fairly well. I'm playing here Legend of Tianling, which is a platformer game that needs quick reflexes. It still works fairly well. One of the main issues is that most games are not really made with 6-inch screen in mind when it comes to menus and displays. So sometimes text dialogues will be slightly more difficult to read on this kind of setup rather than what you would see typically on a large screen. Not a very big issue in most games, but yeah, sometimes RPGs or other games are not really made for that. This is yet another game here, actually excellent one. I would recommend to everybody who is interested in this kind of games. Is a Speedrunner. It's a kind of Micro Machines-like mechanic where you have to race with your character and be ahead of the other characters as fast as possible to win the round. And this is a game that really requires you to be extremely fast in the different controls, avoid obstacles, jump at the right time, and so on. And here you can see that it starts to become a bit more difficult with the latency. It's not, again, a huge problem. You can get used to it. After this video, actually, I won several rounds. But in the beginning, when you're used to the very fast-paced controls, you will find yourself a little bit disoriented. However, I think it's totally manageable anyway, so it's not that bad. And yeah, it's fairly reasonable, I would say. The other issue is like the games typically, I don't find them extremely smooth in terms of scrolling, especially in a 2D kind of setup. Seem to be some kind of jagginess in the scrolling and kind of things, as if the frame rate was kind of lower than expected, even though the frame rate's supposed to be 60 FPS based on the screen information. So I'm not exactly sure what's happening there. Maybe it's something with the Android system, the way the images are produced on screen, that's not as smooth as expected. Here in Rocket League, works fairly well as well. Only issue that I suck at the game, especially when I don't train. But definitely here I feel a bit more the latency than the other games as well. It's a bit more difficult to ensure you can actually react and jump at the right time. So a bit less enjoyable than the typical kind of game. Overall, I think I'd recommend it's an interesting setup to try out, and you may want to see if it works for you.